Hey guys, welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. Here we are taking a look at an RC racer style game by the name of Revolt that was actually released in 1999, and this game was actually released on multiple consoles. It was released on the PlayStation, it was also released on Microsoft Windows PC, Nintendo 64 and the Sega Dreamcast. The game actually did get decent reviews, mainly on the likes of the PC and Dreamcast versions due to the likes of the graphics. It was considered to actually be a very well put together game graphically at the time. Although the N64 and PlayStation versions didn't get as good of feedback, mainly due to certain glitches and just issues with the game in terms of slowdown and frame rate issues. But it did sell a decent amount of copies across all the platforms. It also collected a few awards, kind of like a sleeper hit kind of award for the likes of what the releases on the likes of the Dreamcast and so forth back in that year, because there wasn't really many games like this that were out there at the time. So this was considered kind of like one of the high points for racing games at that time. Again, because it was something completely different. So the premise of the game is literally you're racing likes of toy cars or RC style race cars, but you're taking them around like real life environments, like city streets, kind of like construction sites, pretty much anywhere where you're not really supposed to go. That's where primarily you end up going. Now the maps themselves can be quite large, as you can see with this map here. You have a tendency to go around the same areas 2 or 3 times in one lap, but you take different alternate routes and then you find yourself back up on the same kind of part of the course that you were on previously. Now it's not the same for all tracks. Some tracks are shorter than others, but some of them do be quite long. And the game itself is actually decent, even though there was better versions of the game, like say the Dreamcast and the PC, and again they were better graphically, and the frame rate issues weren't there, and it just was an all round better, more definitive version of the game. But the PlayStation version is still playable, but it's definitely a lot slower, and graphically it wouldn't be obviously as good. But as you can see here, even from the likes of the game style, even when I was playing it, like the gameplay is fine, but it is quite slow. It feels very sluggish. It feels like it takes you ages to kind of get anywhere. But it is what it is. That's the thing. And it's fun. It's not a hard game in terms of controls wise. It is a tough game to play in terms of the level of difficulty with the likes of the tracks and the computer AI and so forth, because it can be hard to keep up with everybody. But the control system itself is decent enough and actually works quite well. Again, it depends on the different types of terrain that you're racing on as well. Like if you're racing on more flat surfaces, you're generally fine, but if you're actually more kind of like off-road type of surfaces, again, it does affect the physics and handling characteristics of each of the cars that you're driving. But it's actually a fun little title. Again, it does have a bit of a following online, and it does have some unique prospects, and it does have popularity behind it as well. And again, because it was something different. I do remember actually seeing this a lot in the likes of the game stores back in the day. You always go into the game shops, and you always seen versions of it, like for the PlayStation and even the N64, but mainly even the Dreamcast. Obviously there was a lot of copies that were available. Again, the game did sell a decent amount of copies, but obviously it didn't sell enough to make it overly popular compared to other games. But again, like I said, it did actually have a decent following, and there was plenty of people that obviously played it. But you could get access to it very, very easily. That was the funny thing about it when you went into the game store, like I mentioned. But again, it's fun, it's quirky. You have a good laugh with it, even just for a short few minutes, just to have a few races in it. And again, you can play multiplayer and so forth. There was a track editor, I think, with the game as well. Now I know from what I've read up news about it, saying that especially on some of the more advanced versions, they said that was actually the main weak point of the game, especially on the Dreamcast and the PC. They said the gameplay was actually really good, but the track editors themselves were definitely probably its weakest feature, because you were missing a lot of kind of elements and tools and so forth to be able to put down certain objects and that. But the fact is that they had that addition in it to be able to create your own tracks was a nice little touch as well. So it gave you a little bit extra functionality and allowed you for a bit more playability, so that you could get a bit creative. with it as well, and take something that you were enjoying anyway and just add your own spin onto it. So if you haven't played Revolt already and you want a quick fix and you are into your toy RC car racers, which a lot of us were back in the days when we were kids, this here might be a fun little game for you to try out and just see what you think for yourself. So I'd love to know your experiences with this game, if you actually played it yourself back in the day. If so, what did you think of it? Did you enjoy it, or maybe not so much? Be sure to share it down in the comments below. So if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. Also be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be updated whenever I release future content, and also feel free to share the video, as I am going to be exploring a lot more of these older quirky style games on the PlayStation and sharing my thoughts and experiences with everyone. So as always, make sure to keep playing those classic games and enjoying them, and keep those gaming memories alive.